I'm 44 today. Okay. And if you're in your 30s, then listen to this carefully. I'm not doing this to sound wise. I'm doing this because perspective changes when you've lived long enough to see certain patterns repeat. Okay. It's my birthday. I'm 44 today. Okay. My experience, if you're in your 30s, this is the decade where things start to count properly. Not dramatically, but quietly. Okay, in your 20s, you can treat life a little bit like a warm-up. Okay, if I'm honest, that's exactly what I did. In your 30s, though, you're in the event, whether you like to admit it or not. And by the time you turn 40, okay, you can see exactly who's trained. I don't mean physically, I mean metaphorically, and who didn't as well. Okay, so here are some of the lessons that, on reflection, I've had on this monumental day. Okay, lesson number one is that your body stops negotiating. In my 20s, I could almost get away with anything. Okay, bad sleep. In fact, no sleep most weekends, poor nutrition, alcohol almost as a personality. And sometimes, I'm not too ashamed to say it, a few extra party products as well. I would go out all night, and I mean all night. And it was amazing. I loved it. But training was, inconsistent, if at all there, present. Anyway, I didn't barely go to the gym, but I'd still perform. I could pull a late night, I could string a few coffees together and show up the next day as if nothing had happened. I passed all my degrees with the highest grades. I worked for some top brands. Okay, I burned candles, not just at both ends, but in the middle as well, if I'm being honest with you. Okay, of course, everything comes to an end, and that phase ends as well, not because you're old, but because those just margins start to slowly disappear. And by the time you're in your 30s, your body stops forgiving you for all that behavior. And by the time you reach your 40s, to put it simply, your body just reports the truth back to you. Okay. And there are times when I can literally feel like, if I have a pizza these days, it feels like the next day it's just appeared on my midriff. By now, recovery, it needs attention. Inputs matter more than ever before. And things that you neglect just compound. There's no drama in any of this. It's just science and biology. Okay, you're no longer getting away with it. You're just paying the price. But as long as you're prepared to take responsibility for your body and your health and your well-being, you can still reach unreal levels of fitness in your 40s. I've probably been the fittest that I've ever been since I turned 40. And it's actually depressing to think how fit I could have been with the same focus in my 20s. So that's lesson number one around your body. Lesson number two is recognizing that burnout is not about effort. Okay, one of the biggest myths that I see, more so in high performers than anyone else, is that burnout comes from doing too much. Okay, it doesn't. It comes from doing too much of the wrong thing. Okay, I've worked with people who train hard, work hard, push hard, and do not get burnout. Okay, the same people, same effort, who are empty and completely lost and burn out. And so it's not about effort, it's about direction. It's about misdirection. Okay, it's like training elite level power numbers for a race that you're never meant to run and you're not committed to. Okay, you feel busy, you feel tired, but nothing meaningful actually improves. So it's not about workload, it's about a direction problem. And the earlier you can do the work on yourself, the work to find out the direction that lights you up, the less burnout you're going to suffer from. It's a fact, and I've felt it. And I've found it in hundreds of other people as well who say exactly the same thing. Okay, lesson number three is around conversations that we avoid. Okay, avoided conversations only ever lead to resentment. And I don't just mean resentment of other people. I actually mean resentment of yourself as well, which is a horrific place to be in. Okay, by 43, this is plainly obvious. 43, I'm actually 44 now, okay? Every relationship breakdown that I've ever witnessed over the years, there was a conversation that didn't happen early enough. Every career stall that I've had or seen in others, there's a truth that wasn't spoken. Every fitness or health spiral that I've had is a conversation with myself that I just kept on postponing. Okay, in your 20s, the cost of avoiding these things is cheap because you don't have much to lose. The consequences are manageable. In your 30s, it might cost you some time and some energy. In your 40s, you can forget it. Okay, it can cost you your identity, and it can be a lot harder to start to pull that back. Okay, I'm a big believer that your life expands or it contracts in proportion to the conversations that you're willing to have, not the ones that you keep delaying. Okay, so it's most important that this is in reflection to yourself. Okay, and this, in my opinion, is leadership, not just at work or at home, but internally. Okay, lesson number 4 is waiting for the approval of others. And I believe that that's the last habit of adolescence. Okay, and here's a line that might trigger some people. If you still need others to approve your decisions, I'm sorry, but you're not stuck. You're just not grown up yet. You're clinging on to old beliefs and an identity because it feels familiar and it feels safe, and you are a child. Okay, adults and adulthood is not about confidence. It's the willingness to be misunderstood, the willingness to fuck up and fail, the willingness to be judged, to own your flaws and your mistakes, and to carry on regardless. Okay, every real decision that we make is going to disappoint someone. It's going to remove a level of comfort somehow. It's going to close the door on something. Okay, so if no one is unhappy, you didn't really decide anything meaningful at all. And by your 40s, you can start to spot this instantly. People who look lost in their 40s rarely are confused. Okay, they're more likely to be avoiding some level of friction. Okay, lesson number 5 is that your social circle is going to change. Okay, and that's not failure. This one catches people off guard. They think that something is wrong because their social life shrinks. Nothing has gone wrong because you recognize the older you get that time becomes scarce, energy becomes way more valuable, and tolerance for bullshit that just doesn't serve you evaporates. Okay, life stops being about the need for proximity to others and the need for being available. Okay, and it's seen, and the need for being seen to be out. It becomes about alignment and trust and people, getting people around you who can actually help you. Yeah, I loved going out in my 20s and my 30s, but I was never really the guy who needed to be there. So you stop asking, who's going out this weekend, and you start asking who and what actually matters. Where shall I spend my time? Is this going to be worth it? And I actually spend way more time with myself now than I have done ever before, and no time at all with people who drain me. Complainers, moaners, fearmongers, professionally and personally, have just gone. And I love it. And it's not loneliness. It's just discernment with age. Okay, lesson number 5 is that some dreams don't survive. Okay, some dreams don't survive reality. And that, in my view, is healthy. Okay, by your 40s, you realize something important. Okay, some dreams were never meant to be achieved. Okay, they were meant to point you somewhere else instead. I never became a CEO. It was a goal of mine for a period of time. Okay, strong belief, and I was lining things up for it, but I held that belief quite loosely and I was prepared to let it go. When I realized that actually it was the opposite of what I really wanted, which was freedom and to help people. So holding on to the wrong dream is like clinging on to a training plan that no longer matches the race that you're going for. Okay, so letting go of it is not failure, it's just a reallocation. Elite performers don't just commit to their beliefs, they hold on to them loosely and they exit them like pros as well. Okay, lesson number 6 is that you cannot outsource responsibility. It sounds obvious, but I don't just mean this professionally. In fact, I mean in life. Okay, more so than in business or in your career or at work. You can outsource your personal tactics, your admin, even some of the execution, but you cannot outsource your own strategy, your ownership that you take, the accountability that you have, because all that comes with consequences, and you definitely cannot outsource consequences. I've realized that despite what we like to tell ourselves, we are never the victim of circumstances. Never really. And even when we think we might be, there's no point in believing that to be true. Okay, the inverse belief is way more appealing and way more powerful, but equally quite uncomfortable. Okay, and that is that we are the creator of our circumstances. No one else lives with the outcomes or your decisions. Okay, that's not pressure or a weight of responsibility. It's a level of agency. And once you accept that, life gets simpler. It doesn't get easier, it gets harder, but a lot cleaner. Okay, lesson number 7 is around excuses and the fact that they don't disappear. They just solidify and compound if we're not careful. And this one is subtle and dangerous because an excuse that is repeated once is probably okay. Repeated for years becomes your identity. And identity literally means, if you look at the origin of the word, sameness. I think it's a Latin origin. It means sameness or repeated beingness. The thing that we do over and over again becomes who we are. So by your 40s, people aren't stuck. They are just in consistent momentum, which works both ways. Okay, what you tolerate becomes who you are. Fitness, again, is a really great example on this one because it starts small. I'm busy this week, or, I'll get back to it when work calms down. And then the same excuse repeats. A missed session becomes a missed month. A missed month becomes just falling out of the habit. And before long, it's no longer behavior, it's an identity. Okay, I'm just not someone who trains consistently, or my body doesn't respond like it used to. Nothing physical really changes, but the story did. And by your 40s, the issue is not fitness, it's the identity that you've been rehearsing for years. And that's how excuses can win. Okay, they don't let you off once, they dictate who you become. Okay, lesson number 8 is around time, and time becomes a rare asset the older you get. I sound like a dinosaur, right? But money recovers, it comes and it goes. Your salary might increase, decrease. In my case, disappear when I started my business. Fitness is the same. Fitness can be rebuilt. Status can. It comes and it goes. But time is the only thing that accelerates, and it doesn't fucking slow down. Every year, you care more about people, you want more outcomes, you want more responsibilities to stack up. But the available hours that we have just keep on shrinking. So the smart people change the questions that they ask themselves. And it's not about how can I fit more in, but instead it's about why the fuck am I doing this? The answer to that second one becomes a big revealer. Okay, it's empowered me to be courageous in recent years for sure. So the answer isn't about optimization. It's more about subtraction. What are we willing to take out? Less things, but better. I think it was Greg McGowan who coined that term in the book Essentialism. Okay, lesson number 9 is around respect and recognizing that respect is built quietly. This one took me a bit longer than it should have done. Because for a time, I thought respect came with things like job titles. And I remember the day that I updated my job title and put the word chief in it. I'd worked hard for it, long hours, big responsibility, real pressure. I updated my signature, changed my LinkedIn headline, and then nothing, tumbleweed, no internal shift, no sudden infusion of confidence, no feeling of arrival, a huge anticlimax. What I realized later was that titles create a level of authority on paper, okay, but not respect in reality. Respect is not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come with a badge, okay? It's built quietly over time through behavior, by doing what you said you would do, by showing up even when it's inconvenient and you're not motivated, by making a hard call when no one is watching. And the trap is thinking that the title does the work for you. It doesn't. If anything, it just raises the bar of expectations on you. Okay, people don't respect the role. They respect the consistency that you show behind it. And the same rule applies internally as well. You don't respect yourself because of the title you hold. You respect yourself because of the promises that you're able to keep to yourself. And that's the part no one puts on LinkedIn, but it's the part that actually matters. Okay, the final reflection from me today at the grand old age of 44 is that hitting 40 doesn't feel dramatic. Okay, you'll have heard them all. Life starts at 40, naughty 40s, whatever that means. I used to put that in all the birthday cards that I sent. It's all downhill from here, the pessimist, or it's all uphill from here, the optimist. It's all bollocks because it's up to you. There's no big revelation. There's no sudden download of wisdom. What I would say is, at least personally, the tolerance to drift changes. That's what happened with me, and it should do, because at this age you can look forwards more clearly. You can see a trajectory more clearly. You can see what over the years has compounded, and you can see what has eroded as well, whether it's habits, beliefs, identity, and these nebulous words, they start making more sense. And you can see where small decisions quietly become a life. And sometimes it's depressing to see it in people. It doesn't have to be you. The most confronting realization is not that time is limited. It's that the direction is always being set, even when you think that you are standing still. The 30s are never about perfection. It's about finding that alignment and direction that you're going in, and getting honest about what you're building, what you're tolerating, what you're avoiding, and what no longer deserves your time. By your 40s, there shouldn't be a real villain. Okay, it's just the ones that we use to protect ourselves. No bad luck stories, just patterns that are repeated. And the upside to all of it is that you don't need a total reinvention. You don't need to blow your life up. You don't need a new identity. You just need to accept fewer excuses, cleaner standards, and the courage to choose your own direction, even when it creates a level of discomfort. Okay, so happy birthday to me, 44. Who'd have thought it? 44. I feel old, yet young at the same time. If this landed for you, especially if you're in your 30s or approaching 40, I write a private letter each week for people who are done drifting and who are ready to be more deliberate with their time, their energy, their decisions. It's just a perspective around clarity and direction. I'm going to put the link in the description. If you sign up for the newsletter, read it slowly, and if it resonates, email me back because I read all of them. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.